Hello and welcome to this interview series called "The Success is the Joy is the Essence of Success." And today I'm here with Jennifer.
Hello, hi.
And I'm just going to begin with the story where we met, because we went to CBD with Christina Morassi 3 years ago. And I was interested in talking to you because I remember 3 years ago we sat in a pool in LA and we discussed our future, and we have big dreams, and we were kind of felt we were at one place and we wanted something greater or something bigger or something more aligned. So here we are. You wanted to quit working with bridals and do more coaching and work with female entrepreneurs, and I was excited about giving out my first book, and I've done it now. So could you tell me about the journey you had as an entrepreneur?
Yes. So I basically have been self-employed since my early 20s. I happened into it really. I went through high school ROP to learn how to do hair, and then I ended up specializing in hair and makeup. So this was all beginning in my early 20s. And I think, it's funny. I don't know that I would have chosen the path, but I had a daughter. I was self-employed and single, and it was like, I have this training. This is what I'm going to do. And it turned out to be perfect for me. I couldn't imagine it really any other way, because I just really, I don't know, I'm a creative spirit, and I love the freedom of the time and the energy that I can spend the way that I would like to, and really utilizing and formulating my own day. I don't think the 8 to 5 corporate world would have ever worked for me. So I'm glad how it worked out.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just knew that, my heart expanded into wanting to move into coaching and helping other women really realize their dreams and live in a space where they can also have their passions turn into profit, which is a beautiful gift to be living.
Yeah. And I remember when we sat there at the pool, we kind of felt that we were in the beginning of bringing more of our passions into it. Could you tell me a little bit about how you kind of leaped into being more true to yourself and aligned?
Yeah, I mean, it was really just this inner calling, right? I mean, there was a point in time where I was in my life, and it was just sort of, I enjoyed my work. I really enjoyed my work doing it for a certain period of time. But then there was a space where this inner yearning to desire to have more, this desire that I realized where I wasn't really feeling fulfilled, started kind of coming up as a whisper. And I followed it and I leaned into it. But I would say that the jumping point for me when I actually was able to just be fully committed and all in was when the misalignment, the pain of not being and living in fulfillment with my dreams became bigger than my fears. Because I think the fears are always there, but there comes a point where it's like, you know what, I just can't do this anymore. And I really need to just lean in and figure out how to get the support that I need to just go in the direction of my dreams. And so that was really the turning point, I think, when the pain of not being in alignment with what I was meant to do in my heart became bigger than those fears that obviously come up as we venture into this entrepreneurial path.
Yeah. Is there any steps along the way as an entrepreneur you thought about, now it's enough, now I'm quitting?
No, I don't think that I could ever quit. And part of that was, I think my drive was, again, being a self-employed mom. So I've been self-employed since my 20s. So that's probably something that I couldn't imagine working for somebody with. In terms of the coaching business, there was definitely times where it felt like, it stretched me personally through my fears and through these inner voices of like, what if, I'm not good enough, or what are people going to judge me? And so I felt like I delved into this path of really having to work through my own inner game stuff deeper than I imagined. And that's actually proven to be quite a beautiful process when you can just accept the fact that, being out of your comfort zone is just part of what it is. And instead of resisting the things that come up, just learning to lean into it as like, oh, wow, this is exciting. There's expansion on the other side. And how, learning the tools and getting the support to really help you move through them in a way has really been, I think, the key for me to keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's cool. And I agree with you that being an entrepreneur is the best self-help development tool you can ever get. Could you tell me a little bit about how Jen is different now from when she started? Like how you have evolved in the process as a person?
As a person, I think I've really learned to kind of come out of the closet with who I am. I think there's a lot of times where I didn't realize how I was shrinking, or I was more concerned with other people's opinions of me than I was allowing myself to really show who I really was and share myself authentically. I think there was a lot of fear around really expressing who I am. And for me, part of that is being on the spiritual path that I'm on, really expanding into being an intuitive and working with angels and such. That was something that was scary to share. That was something that was kind of private to me in the beginning. And now I think just having the courage to just keep on moving forward, having the belief in myself to just keep moving forward, has gotten stronger and stronger. Yeah. So I think unapologetically expressing who I am, that has been the biggest growth.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I know you use your intuition a lot in your business. But as an entrepreneur, you also have to do a lot of planning and structure and systems. How do you combine working with the spirit and daily life?
Well, I feel like for me, morning routine, like I think if you speak to anyone who's successful, it doesn't matter what level of CEO of the big corporations or in the individual entrepreneurial line online, I feel like one of the keys to success in a sense of foundation is really the morning routine, having some space and some balance. So for me, I like to start my morning with a little bit of meditation, a little bit of journaling, really connecting with myself, with my spiritual support team, however that might look for you. And really asking for that guidance and tuning in, learning to tune into my inner guidance system and just being in a space of, okay, I know what my bigger vision is, and then letting that go and being present with what is my next step that I can take today to be most aligned with my highest path or with my purpose or completing this project, right? So really getting clear about what my intention is and bringing it into the practical by following my gut when it comes to what are the next steps that need to happen. And when you lead from that space, when you're aligned, you're actually going to get there much faster, right? And all the little minutiae tends to get done. So you do have to follow through with the action 100%, but when you're taking that aligned action and coming from a space of connection to your spirit and to God and to the universe, it really comes much more easily than it has to. I think I used to be in a lot of busy work and effort and very busy and not productive. And now I find the steps that come are very much in the direction that move me much more quickly in a way that feels good and not burning out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But do you have like a long-term vision or goal, or do you take it more day by day, week by week?
I think like my morning meditation space can look different. Like I feel like it's important to definitely be like the clearer you are in your bigger vision, and not only your bigger vision, but your why. Like this is something that's a good tip for everyone. And I feel helps me to keep moving through those fear spaces, like the comfort zone stretches, is to really be connected to your bigger vision and your why, like why that's important to you, how that affects you in your personal life, your family, your relationships, to have the freedom or the time or the energy or the money that you're wanting. But then also, if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur, then how it affects the globally, right? Sometimes that's going to drive you forward. And I think when you know those things, that's important. But then, so I'll journal about that, right? Sometimes I'll just journal, because as we grow and shift, our purpose and how our vision wants to change will also sometimes shift a little bit or expand a little bit, right? So knowing that is important. But then I also take it back to, okay, so what is the next project that I can do in the next 2 to 3 months that's going to be in alignment with that bigger vision? And how can I take the overwhelm out of it by not just always focusing on that huge vision, but bringing it and scaling it back to what is the next project that I feel inspired to create right now that will also take me into that direction. And it might be creating a program or a webinar or a new training, and then I just focus on taking the daily action to complete that, and then kind of repeat the process.
Yeah.
Kind of bouncing back between the bigger vision and the smaller vision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Could you tell a little about the women you work with, who they are?
Yeah, I work with women who are, spirit-led change agents. They know in their heart, they just have this calling to do more. They know they're here to make a big impact in the world. They have a unique message and gifts that they know will impact the world in a beautiful place. And they also have the desire for freedom, right? They have the desire for more freedom. They want to travel. They want to have more time to spend with their family and to really experience life. And they realize that they really can have it all, but then there's some fears that come up, as we were talking about earlier. I think one of the biggest things that stops them is like fears that will manifest in either procrastination or overwhelm or being afraid to, like, they know they're supposed to start doing videos, but then they're like, but maybe I'll just get busy over here, or just, know that they just haven't quite been able to bust those fears to take the steps that they need to take. So I really work with people on an inner game level, for sure. As an intuitive, I do Akashic Records work that helps people clarify their purpose, because I think that's important. And then I also help them with the tangible strategies, because you have to be to me, it's a constant balance every day of the inner connection and then the outer strategy. And so that's the women I work with are really looking for a little bit deeper clarity of to how to get their gifts out into the world and make the impact that they know they're meant to.
Yeah, I feel there's this whole gang, or what do you use, a whole group of women rising now.
Yeah.
Do you feel it the same way, that there's more and more women like waking up in a way?
For sure. I think that, I think the world's waking up. I think the women are rising together. And what I love is that if there's a sense of collaboration, I feel like, if you think back, for me, in my experience, and I think a lot of women can relate to this, is that there's a lot of upbringing with competition or self-judgment or judging, or like comparing ourselves to other people and all these things. And what's beautiful that I see now is happening is that we're rising up out of that and learning how to connect with each other and how to rise together and how to collaborate, and that we're actually stronger uniting with one another and lifting each other up, as opposed to feeling like there's a space of competition happening. I think that space of competition is just deep-seated. That is a factor that holds a lot of people back as well. Yeah. They get into comparing each other. They're doing this and I can't do that. Or, instead it's like, how can we rise together? How can we move into the awareness that there is enough for everybody, and abundance is inherent for everybody, and that we all have our unique way of sharing the same, our gifts. And so that's going to resonate with people differently. And it's just really fun. I love it.
Yeah, I so agree. What kind of visions do you have for your business moving forward?
Well, the bigger vision I have is I look forward to doing destination retreats. I love swimming with the wild dolphins in Hawaii. And so for me, my big awakening happened from allowing myself those permissions to step out of my regular life and go kind of away with a group of people, and then be in more balance and play, and also have some success strategies. So creating some sort of destination retreat for entrepreneurs to really have some space for self-care and some pampering, and really to get deep dive into the clarity and healing, but then also to come back with some, what I like to call a soul success strategy. So that's one of my big visions I haven't accomplished yet. And also I'm enjoying this year, I've been doing a lot more group programs and group work, which I really enjoy, because I feel like that community that you're talking about is so valuable in terms of helping you to continue to move forward on that vision, and just having feedback and support from other people who get it. Because a lot of times our family doesn't get it. And so I'm enjoying continuing to do more group work together as well. So I do one-on-one mentoring, but I kind of like that group aspect. So I'm leaning that direction.
Yeah. And I also know you do angel card readings like almost every week on your Facebook page. Is there behind that? Is there what got you moving in that direction? Because I'm curious about if it's because it feels so easy and aligned for you. Is it? I think it's a very smart strategy to do it that way.
Yeah, I think it is a way. Well, let me just back up and say the initial time I started doing it was honestly to stretch my comfort zone with visibility. It's like I knew I needed to be getting out there more. I knew I needed to show the spiritual side, but there was a part of me that was still in the spiritual closet, so to speak. And I was like, oh my gosh, what are my family or all the wedding professional friends that are on my Facebook page, and what are all these people going to think about this? And so part of it was just me doing it for myself, like owning the space of, you know what, it's time for me to be more visible and practice showing up as the fullness of who I am, which is what I share with others to do. I need to take a step up in that myself. And so I really, part of it was just to lean into that visibility stretch and move through those fears that were kind of keeping me small and hidden in my business. Yeah. Right. And then now it's just fun. It is something that's aligned for me. And it's something that I feel like, you know, gives some value to people. At the same time, this gives them a taste of who I am. And that's the power of video in your business, is it's a free form of really kind of putting your beacon out there to your tribe in a way, so that they can self-select themselves and kind of come into your circle in a way that feels more organic and not salesy, which is what I like about it too. So it's kind of just a win-win all the way around. But definitely I leapt into that before I felt ready. And that is a key factor I think we have to do, is you'll get these little nudges and knowings that we need to do something. And then sometimes we spin around in like procrastination or confusion and don't take the step. And that's kind of how I was for a few months prior. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to commit and I'm just going to do it before it felt fun.
Yeah, but I really enjoy seeing you, because I think it feels so aligned now, and I think it's so wise when it's aligned for you, and it's also very valuable for your people.
I think that's a big key.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I wonder if you should give other female entrepreneurs any advice. What kind of 3 tips would you give them?
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, you have to do things before you feel ready. If you fall into that trap of the fear, you know, having to have it perfect and having to have it ready, you'll never get going off. So, you know, you'll never take flight. So it's important to just keep, once you get a knowing of somewhere you want to go, just allow yourself to keep moving forward, even if it's not perfect, right? I think that's something we learned in Christina's is done is better than perfect. And I do live by that, because it gets better and easier. The other thing would be, self-care is essential. I think learning that, to me, self-care is essential, and having that morning routine in place is actually working smarter, not harder. You know, it seems counterintuitive, like, oh, I don't have time to meditate, or I don't have time for visualing or journaling or whatever. But that right there is going to set up your day to where you're going to be in charge. Like, this is where you get to be the CEO of your life, and you are the one deciding what you're creating, as opposed to responding to emails, getting stuck in Facebook and kind of realizing that the day went away from you and you didn't get done what you wanted. So that's the second one. And then, and with that, I would say connect with your vision and your why, because the clearer you are, the more quickly the universe and yourself will be inspired to take the action that you need in order to achieve it. It's huge. And then I feel like there's one more thing I wanted to say. Speak from your heart. I think part of it is that there's a sense of that we hold back and sometimes learn, you know, you should just talk about the results oriented and the pain that they're going through, which I think is important so that people can identify where you're at. But what I've found is that the more I've leaned into just sharing a message that's on my heart, that makes it feel fun, and that keeps you connected, and it helps people really know you and see you differently than maybe the a million other people that are teaching the same thing as you. So I think really showing up authentically expressed in your business is a really important key ingredient that allows people to really see you, that are meant to work with you. So I think that's important as well.
Good advices. Thank you so much. And where can people contact you or work with you?
So I would love if this sounds valuable to you, I have a free gift that I can offer the audience as well. It's that you can go to at soulsuccessunleashed.com. And you'll see on the homepage there's a free gift, 7 Secrets to Soul Success. I also have a blissful, I think maybe if you're going to put show notes up, I'm going to give you a free gift called the Blissful Living Bundle, because I feel like with this series in particular, learning how to create a business that's aligned in your joy and in your bliss would be really aligned as well. And I give you a little meditation within that as well that teaches you how to start to connect with your body and open up your intuition, which is something I love to teach people because it's like the most valuable thing ever to really tune into yourself and really stress and all that. And then you can also find me online. I have a Facebook group that I'd love to invite you to, because I think community is really, really valuable and important to help you keep moving through the fears, where we talk about intuition and aligned strategy and things like that, as well as my angel readings. And that is Soul Success Circle with Jen Gilchrist on Facebook.
Awesome. I'm going to include everything in the notes below. Thank you so much, Dan, for connecting and for this interview. I'm so happy.
Yes, thank you for having me too. I know it's so fun to look back at how far we've come since a few years back. So that's the next thing, guys. Don't give up. Keep going. You have an important message and the world needs your light. So I'm excited for the work that you're doing in the world. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.